Guys, so today we're going to be diving straight into more about IBS awareness. You want to hang around till the end. I'm going to be sharing things with you, not just about IBS itself, the symptoms, but not just the symptoms that everybody believes in, you know, like the normal stuff like the bloating, etc. But we're going to be doing a dive into other symptoms, things that people don't really speak about. This is going to give you, but I think more importantly, maybe your friends or your loved ones that are close to you that don't understand it, and maybe you're struggling to help them understand it. So you could potentially share this video with them to give them a bit of an awareness as well of, you know, what you're really struggling with, why it's happening, you know, so they understand you in more detail, and maybe they can have more empathy then towards your symptoms and towards why you're struggling to get things done. So I guess the first thing to tell, you know, whoever's watching this, you know, if you are sat down with your partner and your partner's watching this and you may be sat at the side of your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, and you're aware they've got all these symptoms, you know, maybe there's a lot of wind going on, it smells, and maybe they're bloated all the time, they look larger than what they should do, and you may be taking the mickey out of them. Well, there's a fine line between banter and hurting somebody's feelings, so just bear that one in mind as well, you know, because actually it's not their fault. And having IBS myself for a long time now, I've got my symptoms fully under control, you know, like 99.9% of the time, and it's why I'm helping people to get their help and, you know, that they need, so that they can move forward in their life. You know, the first thing is it's not your fault if you've got IBS. Once you've, you know, that's the first thing to understand. And symptoms that you are aware of yourself, or not, maybe you've not had a diagnosis yet, so you know, you might have bloating, you might have inconsistent stools. So what I mean by that is maybe diarrhea, constipation, maybe it's mixed, maybe, you know, it's all over the place. Maybe, I hope not, but maybe there's bleeding down there. If there is, please go to your doctors as soon as possible, because that could indicate, it could be as something and nothing, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a tear from pushing and you've got constipation, or maybe it's something a little bit more sinister, like bowel cancer. So you need to get that checked as soon as possible, guys, if you've got any bleeding at all. What we haven't mentioned is stomach pain. You know, that can be, I mean, what's the range in that? It can be mild stomach pain, depending on you, who you are, your own resilience, you know, your own sort of threshold to sort of pain barrier. It could be really, really severe where you're buckled over, you know, a tight pain, and feel like potentially you could go to hospital. So there's a whole, and everything in between. So there's a lot of pain that could be associated there. Other things then is, you know, you might have to be experiencing nausea, feeling sick, and that can eat into other symptoms as well. There's just a couple of, you know, handful of symptoms. They're like the more common ones. There's obviously more. Do your research, check. Now, if you've got any of those symptoms, and if anybody's watching this that's, you know, needs the sort of IBS awareness, then it might not necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and say you've got those symptoms, you've got IBS. I'm not a doctor. You need to go and get that diagnosis. Have your blood tested, you know, to make sure you haven't got any bowel cancer. Test for things, inflammatory bowel disease. You know, there's a whole range of them that need to be ruled out, as you will, or ruled in. You know, if you have got something like Crohn's disease, you know. So there's a range of things. So the diagnosis is critical, I feel. Whatever you do, under no circumstance, don't even listen to anybody that tells you to self-diagnose. Or, you know, like, for example, you're listening to me and you're thinking, I've got them symptoms. You know, don't sort of finish watching this video and think, yeah, I've got IBS, or yeah, I've got this. That's not the way. You've got to have that diagnosis, guys, okay? For your own safety, for your own health, and for your own wellness moving forward. But also, so you can get the right treatment. So you imagine now, you self-diagnose. Let's say you watch this, or you've read a ton of stuff and you're like, yeah, I've got IBS. And then you start trying to manage the symptoms, the ailment, as IBS. So you know, whatever, there's tons of stuff out there that you could start trying. But what if you have IBD? What if you've got something where you definitely can't eat bread and pasta? You know, you can't have gluten, and actually that could cause you a lot of harm if you do. You can't treat a condition without knowing exactly what it is. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like going for arm surgery because your arm's not working properly and they operate on your leg. You know what I mean? So we've mentioned some of the basic symptoms, about the diagnosis. The next stage, and you know, I want to share with you and potentially other people that are watching this, in terms of IBS awareness is it's what a lot of people don't cover. You know, everybody says, oh, you've got bloating, you've got diarrhea, you've got all these symptoms going on, and it's like 30,000 foot. It's like surface level, but actually there's a lot more to it than that. And you probably sat there yourself if you've got IBS or whatever, thinking, yeah, that's me, I've got them symptoms, but that's it. It's not it. And people don't understand and fully appreciate, as I do, and people that have got IBS or health professionals like dietitians, that, like my wife that works with them, in how bad and the consequences of having those symptoms really are. Now, for example, maybe that you have other symptoms. So we talked about the surface level ones before. You might have low energy, you might be tired, you know, because your sleep's being interrupted because of the symptoms that we've mentioned. You know, if you've constantly got bloating and stomach pain and you constantly need the toilet, then it's going to start affecting your sleep. A lot of men struggle with the sleep. What then is the cause? Everything's cause and effect, guys. Yeah, and you're just burying your head in the sand with all of this and thinking, you know, I could just live my life with these symptoms and they're getting worse. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but everything's cause and effect. So if you've got to look at the consequences of not sorting things out. So if you are tired all the time and you are not having good quality sleep, mixed with maybe you've got anxiety, maybe stress, maybe there's some depression, just that low energy, just them alone over time, and I'm not going to say it's 1 year, 5 years, you know, whatever, because everybody's different, but over time, that, you know, it's going to potentially make you have a low or a weakened immune system. What does that mean? It means you're going to be open and more prone to getting other diseases, other illnesses. It means that you're going to not overcome them illnesses as quickly as if you were healthy and had, you know, that zest of life. What else, you know, does low sleep do? If you constantly sleep, you're going to be then at high risk of putting weight on. And maybe you're struggling with that already. What is the knock-on effect of putting weight on? Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancers, liver disease. So there's a whole scope of stuff all of a sudden, you know, moving forward with dramas just from IBS. Now, can you get, like somebody said, I think to me, in a Facebook group, we've got a Facebook group, IBS in Men. If you're not there now, dive in. It's a great group and community is key. One of the questions that somebody said, I think ages ago, is can you get cancer, like, you know, bowel cancer or something from IBS? Well, clearly you can't from IBS, but it's all the other stuff that's associated from having IBS that can cause problems. Now, having IBS, like I've got IBS, isn't a drama if you've got it under control, guys. And that's the key thing I want to get across. If you've got IBS, there's no cure for it. Having it under control, understanding your triggers so that you don't get flare-ups, you don't get the bloating, the diarrhea, the constipation, none of that stuff. So you are pretty much living your normal life, day to day, week by week. Then your sleep's going to start getting better if it is being affected. You are going to start strengthening your immune system up. You're going to start feeling stronger, more energy. You're going to have better sex. Because come on, let's be honest. Let's go there. Who's going to want to have sex with, whether you're a woman or a man, when you're feeling bloated, when you have, you know, got constipation, diarrhea, you're not feeling great downstairs, you're feeling lacking self-confidence, maybe worthiness, because, you know, you're looking in the mirror and you don't like the image that's staring back at you. And it's none of this is your fault because you've got this illness that needs sorting out. And that's the thing to get across, you know, so please share this, you know, if needs be, with anybody in your family, a relationship, whatever, that doesn't fully grasp the severity, as you will, of what IBS, the consequences of what it can do. Clearly that's not everybody. You might be watching this and go, yeah, I'm not that bad yet. Or you might be watching this and go, yeah, I'm sorted. And I'd love to hear your comments. If you are sorted and you've managed to find a system, maybe you've worked with us and you've got everything under control, then please comment below. And again, if you've got any questions, guys, put them in the comments below. And I do take the time to read the community's comments and get back to you. So there's like loads and loads of consequences, and it gets worse than that, doesn't it? Because over time, you know, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, and, you know, have you got kids? Now, having young children, you know, like toddlers around the house, if they're seeing mom or dad with IBS, having all this, you know, on the couch, missing opportunities, you know, constantly complaining about their IBS, then they can actually get it as well. through, nurture, through just being around somebody that's always like that, believe it or not. So yeah, so just be aware of that as well. Are your kids okay? Check in on them. Is this affecting your relationship yet? Has it got to the point where you're sleeping together with your partner but you're 1,000 miles apart? Because this can happen. So we're already now into the realms of relationship problems. Spoke with men in the past that have been on the brink of divorce, and that, just from having IBS, and people say, oh, it's just IBS. It is not just IBS. It's a whole spectrum of drama that can stem from, IBS is the overarching condition, and then there's all these consequences that can happen. It can affect business. I was speaking to one guy, I think his name was Jason, about a year ago, the assistant to a CEO of this big, massive firm in America. And, one of his key responsibilities was to go into like a boardroom, as you will, and have these big meetings, especially outside of lockdown. During lockdown, no dramas with COVID, could work from home next to a toilet. You see where I'm going, he's now back in the office, and was, until obviously we worked together, struggling to, have that power, that confidence, and the energy as well, and feel good to go and do like PowerPoint presentations, to hold meetings, to get up and talk and be the leader, the manager that he's supposed to be. So that, again, is just an example there, and maybe you can relate to that. If you can, again, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So there's a whole host of yuckiness, horribleness, powerlessness stuff that can go on with IBS, and maybe these things are already happening to you right now. I hope not. Maybe they're starting to happen. Maybe you've noticed that things are getting worse, slowly but surely. So then the next question is why is it that men don't seem to get help? It's kind of like it's a taboo subject, health, isn't it, with most men? Like money is a taboo subject with families, it seems. Why do they not do it? There's tons of reasons, isn't there? Fear, powerlessness, feeling that they might, fear of failure, fear of letting themselves down, letting other people down, not thinking something will work, not believing in themselves. There's tons of reasons. Whereas women typically will go and start getting coaching or mentoring or whatever it takes to get themselves back off the sidelines and onto the road of success, because it is a superpower. And that's the thing to get across in this awareness session, is that staying, you've got to just ask yourself, is if I just sit at home and struggle through this day to day, year on year, when do I get help? When is a good time to get help? When is the best time? Tomorrow never comes. Someday is not on the calendar. When is that best time? 2 years from now? 5 years? How long have you had IBS already? Have you just recently been diagnosed with it, or have you had it 16 years like some people have? Have you had it that amount of time? Well, how old are you now? Are you 45? I'm 45. Are you the same age as me? Are you a bit older, a bit younger? Do you want to live the next 10, 15, 20 years with this condition as it is now, and you only know how your condition is at the moment, and potentially risk it getting worse, which inevitably for a lot of people it does? And if the answer is no, which I hope it is, obviously I'm not judging, everybody's entitled to their own life and how they live it. But if the answer is no, then I invite you to reach out and get help. Now, obviously we work with men, but we only work with certain individuals. Now, if you want more information on that, guys, please, by all means, dive into the description, check out our website, check out the complimentary training that we've got. There's a link to it on the banner at the top at the right, which will tell you the process that Charlie Jean has used, a time-tested process to get men from stuck to unstuck in a very short space of time, may I add, and live a really, really phenomenal life. And it's not undoable. This is not a video, by the way, of me self-promoting and saying work with us. I'm not bothered what you do and where you go. The point of this is selflessly just go and get help from somebody, get the diagnosis, raise the awareness, sit your loved ones down, maybe show them this video and say, look, this is how bad it is, this is what could happen. But also, I think if you do your own self-reflection, which we're all guilty of not doing enough of, and just sit down and explore your own feelings, your own attitude towards IBS, and how it's impacting you, but more importantly, how it's impacting those around you. And are you willing to accept for it to stay the same or potentially get worse moving forward in your life and further down the line. And if the answer is yes, then cool, happy days. You know, turn this video off, don't subscribe, don't join the IBS in Men Facebook group, and don't watch the free training, and check the website out that I said before, because, you know, at the end of the day, you're entitled to do what you want. But if the answer is yes, I absolutely want to get this snipped now, in the month of April. I'm not going to wait till May, June or the summer when I'm going to miss yet another holiday. I invite you to take action today. Now is the best time, guys. Now. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. And it's like, you know, being present is key, and just taking small steps. Try not to look at the big picture, even though we need that goal of, I need my IBS totally sorted out now. I need to be like fully under control, and you know, wow, that's going to be a phenomenal amount of work. It's going to take, I'm going to have to do this, going to have to do that. It just becomes overwhelming. It's just taking small baby steps, small little changes and tweaks done each day. They compound over time, and they have massive, amazing results over the long haul. Believe me, they do. And that's just not just me saying it through my own IBS transformation. That's from, there's thousands of case studies out there. There's people that we've worked with, tons of people that we've worked with that have got the, you know, amazing results. And you can have that too, if you want it. If you're willing to make that decision for yourself and for your family, for your loved ones, to go forward and get the help that you need. And remember, if you're a man with IBS or any issue that you need help with, getting help is a superpower. Look at all the great people out there. I don't know what industry you're in yourself, or who you find as, like, maybe you look up to people like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Maybe you like sports, so he's like American football or soccer, whatever, boxing. Maybe you know, there's all these different sports people. Maybe you look up to billionaires like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Ray Dalio. Maybe, you know, there's multi-million, Ed Milet. There's tons of people out there, and the list is massive. Every single one of them people that have had success, not just with money, not just with health, but in any industry, have all had share things in common. They all get expert help, whether that's a coach or several coaches, depending on different things that they need help with. They all have a mentor, so that it's somebody they can ask questions to, share ideas with, and they all surround themselves in a community, whether that's a community of rich people because they're rich, whether they're an athlete, they surround themselves with other athletes and coaches. So it's getting inside that community that's key. Not some Facebook group where it's just full of people whinging and moaning and complaining and it's negative energy. You know, trying to get in a community that's got positivity, that's going to listen to you, care about you, and bring you up when you're down as well, you know, so you can dive in there. Yes, you can have a bit of a whinge and a moan, because that's what a Facebook group should be for example. And then other people that are around you that are in there are positive, can go, come on, you know, it's not that bad, you know, think of this, think of that, let's go forward. Happy with that? So that's pretty much everything. Like I said before, check out our stuff. Don't bother, like I said before, if you're just happy with where you are and you're just rolling forward, that's cool in the gang. You know, everybody's IBS is different. Yours might not be that bad. It might not get that bad. I hope it doesn't severely. I wish you nothing but the best, and have a great, wonderful life. I hope to see you, if you do want to take action and take some more steps. I'd love to see you in our Facebook group. As I said before, IBS in Men. It's relatively new, and it is literally, if you're not a man, yeah, you can't join. Sorry. And make sure if you do jump across there, I'll invite you in. I'll say hi. And yeah, make sure you answer the questions, agree to the rules, etc. Because we're there to protect each other. Check out the website, charliegene.com. There's tons of information on there that we can help you with. And who knows, we might see each other on the other side. Take care, guys.